All right, so I'm doing a clairsentient clarification for self. And I want to know about clairsentience as it pertains to me personally. Everybody is going to have to ask that question for themselves. And if you're interested in it, you'll receive the answer through whatever channel you need to do that through, right? So this is the 3 of fire. It came out like this. So if you just, this is the 3 of fire. This is coming together. It says abundance, things looking very good, having patience at this time, make long-term plans. So we'll just do that as top of the read. And then I'm going to do 3 here. We will clarify all aspects of that. So I feel like in the card itself, what I'm seeing is a volcano. I'm seeing a dragon, and I'm also seeing like a small child sitting with the dragon in this garden, and they're surrounded by 3 kind of points of contact. So that tells me that there's going to be a past, a present, and a future application of this. It's something about ancient times because it's dragons and volcanoes. That's more medieval, primordial kind of feel to it than anything else. There's something about clairsentience. Oh, this is super interesting. As soon as I tap into my own energy, so much more clarity comes through. So there's something about a lot of people developed skills in Europe during the plague, and it was biological mutations that needed to happen in order for survival of humanity to take place, right? And there's I don't know if these are wives' tales or if this is true, but there's apparently certain groups in the world who have immunity to things like HIV/AIDS or to like the plague and whatnot. And that's because there's these past ancestors that have already dealt with that kind of dharma, if you will. They had to defensively arm themselves against the karma of having to relive the trauma in their bloodline, if that makes sense. So the only example I can think of right now is Princess Brides. If you've ever seen that movie, Princess Brides, there's a man who is trying to kill another man, and he's trying to poison him with belladonna, which is a type of poison that was used largely in the medievals. And the man ends up telling, his attempted assassin, he's like, you do realize that I've eaten this every day for all my whole life and built up an immunity to it, right? That's kind of what this is. It's saying that there's something about mental fortitude, about genetic mutation or alterations that were made to more or less repair the damage that was done, and then also obviously survival of the fittest plus a pinch of altruism, I suppose. But yeah, so here's a 7 of air. This is plans that need revision, more going on than meets the eye, and poor timing. So remember, I was just telling you about past, present, future energy. That's the energy of like, this is the time that whatever clairsentient ability came from. I don't know how to verbalize that any other way. That is where it came from. It is the origin source. I think there was a lot of like medieval times, there was a lot of magic. So this is the 3 of water coming out directly under the 3 of fire, which is what I was saying here, was that this past energy, 7 of air, is a defensive energy. It's kind of, it's a little bit like in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, there's a smug feeling that comes from it. There's a theft or a taking or a removal of something, and it usually denotes like kind of a need to figure out how to defend yourself against whatever energy is coming towards you. And that is what this portion it stands for. So this actually, even though it says plans that need revision, the feeling I'm strongly getting off of this card is more so that this was the defense, was developing a clairsentient ability. That was the natural, you know, I'm immune to this because I've trained for it every day of my life. That's coming together with this 3 of fire, with that volcano. It's like an explosive kind of energy, as well as a mystical energy. This dragon and this small child are literally sitting there just watching the eruptions and making observations. There's a lot of juxtapositions in this card as well. I don't know why, but when I first looked at it, I didn't see this, but I love you know, butterflies and flowers and all this other kind of stuff. And there's butterflies and flowers in this card, which are really kind of out of place because it's the middle of like this is like Pompeii, okay? There's like, it's an explosion. You can see like a small butterfly off in the distance. I don't know if my camera will catch that, but it's like butterflies are here. There's some small flowers there, but do you see how there's this huge volcano in the background? There's something about that is the regeneration of the skill set needed. So this is the skill set that was developed as a defense. This is the integration of the two coming into the same timeline, right, is what I'm just getting, and why this kind of looks medieval or primordial. And in the future, there's going to be a flying forward. There's flying forward towards like grassy knolls. I don't know where that came from, but like a meadow or some type of, I'm just seeing like in the Wizard of Oz, I'm just seeing like the poppy fields. Yeah, so here's the 9 of fire, which is defense. Don't give up. Protect what you're created. Have courage and believe in yourself. So that is exactly in line with all of what we just read. This 9 of fire is also, I do want to say, because I was kind of drawn to this, this, you know, little person in this picture right here. I want to say this is the timeline progressing. So back here, there's only horses in the picture. It's like you have to hold your horses and develop this, you know, antidote, I guess. This is the antidote. This is the administering of that antidote. And this is the way the antidote actually functions. It's actually functioning over here. So this is, I do want to say this is really interesting to me just because there's 2 3s, a 9, and a 7 right here. So I don't know, there's no 6 on the board, but there's kind of energy of 3, 6, 9. I don't know if you've heard Get Low by Little John and the East Side Boys, but I'm just hearing that in my mind right now. It might just be 3, 6, 9. Damn, she fine. It be suck it to me one more time. So that's what I'm saying is like, when you have to get low or kind of avoid something, it's the equivalent of needing to like duck, right? So when you're being attacked constantly, when we'll stick with the example of like kind of having to do the whole plague thing, right? So this is belladonna, the actual plant. This is the tincture, the breakdown of that belladonna into the poison itself, which is obviously you've got the poison and the antidote. And then this is the administer. So when you add the minister into the mix, it kind of brings this is the older version of this same little girl in this picture. She has gone pretty deep inside of herself. This is on the bottom, and this is, so the fire is up top, the water is down low. And I do just want to say that does coincide with the picture on both of these, but she is able to like kind of protect the dragon. She like, it's almost like she grew up, this is a good example as well. She grew up with wolves, with dragons in this case, okay? She had a I don't know if there was some kind of issue. And then there's this integration of two separate kind of energies. So, you know, the wolf that grew up with the bears, and the bear that grew up with the sheep, and the human that grew up with the dragons. It's the same thing. It's the black. This is the story of the black swan. It's the redemption story. It is the ability to view yourself in that power of redemption, so that you can kind of sense for yourself. You got to use your own sensory skills. I actually tried doing this already one time, and I was reading for just the energies that are out there, and it wasn't working. This is kind of one of those things that once you find it, it belongs to you. And I do say belongs with an S, because you cannot the feeling of like, this is mine, like that's what the feeling I don't want, that I don't want to be surrounding. Obviously, if you're a mother or a parent at all, then you know that if there's energy of contention or any type of, look, I'm just like started belching, excuse me, but that's the discontentment, that's the feeling. This is a personal journey. So this is coming out first. This is top of the reading. This goes with this 3 of fire and this 3 of water. Here's the butterfly that I was just pointing out on the 3 of water. It's a motherly energy. It's a motherly energy. So when you have the administration or the administer or the administrators, whoever you are, however this needs to progress for you. Personally, this is definitely a reflection of this dragon energy being birthed in a very stable way. I want to say that that's basically as stable as you can get. There's 2 of these 3s. It's like having a real good image of, I don't know, for me, the clairsentience has a lot to do with what's the thoughts that are, the images in my head, right? And the image in my head was of more or less creating this poison to protect yourself against whatever you need to protect yourself against. That's a bad way to think about it when it comes to clairsentience, because clairsentience is not a poison. However, I will say that there's a need to have this balance, because when you're clairsentient, you have a very delicate sensory system, obviously, but it's also not going to lie to you. And sometimes you don't really want, it's like when people say don't ask questions that you don't really want the answer to, right? That's what this is. That's what clairsentience is kind of about, and kind of like, I don't know how else to say that, but it's, you know, you don't necessarily want to know what kind of thoughts other people are having at all times. And you don't necessarily always want to pick up on their feelings. I will say, I will reiterate this, for people with abilities, it's not a choice when you turn these things on and off. That's why you see all these movies about people who have to learn to control their abilities, right? It's not about controlling them. It's about learning how to, if you've got a radio and you're, like, it's with a knob, right? So you're turning it and you're trying to tune it to the right station. You know how it's real staticky if you go too far one direction and real staticky if you go too far the other? That is the way clairsentience kind of works. It's the imagery in your mind will get staticky when you're on the edge of your realizations. Okay, so I'll give you an example. I suppose there's so you know how sometimes you'll get spaced out. You'll be thinking about something and you're just kind of like, and it looks like you're stuck on stupid, but really you're having all these like really deep, intense thoughts about how to hash something out, you know, like how to get through something. And because you're in such deep thought for that moment, there's a, I don't even like that example. Never mind. Forget it. I'm just going to go with these cards. I'm going to leave this here. This is beaver energy, so this is building. I do want to say those 3 points. I am seeing like a triangle at some juncture in here. There's an emotional triangle, and Bermuda triangle just went through my head. I don't know if that's because I'm wearing like a Hawaii t-shirt, but I don't really I don't know where that's coming from. There's I keep wanting to share that thought, but I don't think I should. So this is the panther energy coming out after the beaver. This is the going backwards. I should have kept the beaver out, honestly, and put it here. And then I could have put the panther here. So this panther energy is the one that has evolved. This one's the panther with green eyes. And obviously defending. Okay, so 7 of air, that is the defense card, came out with that panther. There's an elephant in here somewhere. My point is, this is the beaver card, right? Let me find it so that we can finish this out. Yeah, there it is. So bottom of the deck is the elephant. This elephant makes me sad every time I see it, just a little bit. I'm really glad that the elephant is still like on its feet, surviving and living. But do you see this? It's been tusked. It's been hunted. This elephant has. I think in this specific case, maybe that's a perfect example. For creatures, for gentle, sweet, docile, innocent creatures that are confronted by something that they have to aggressively defend themselves against, like people who've been tusking them or have been stealing their life force energy. I don't know if you've ever seen The Gods Must Be Crazy, but that's a good movie about tuskers, like people who ivory tuskers. It kind of is lighthearted. There's 2 of them, but whatever. Just that's the point, is that there was defense needed from some type of harm or hurt that was coming to an entire bloodline. So this elephant's little baby, that's probably the baby in the picture. Maybe not. Maybe it's you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to say that the bloodline of the elephants, of a species, an entire race of people, can be threatened all at one time, whether it be by each other, other species, or diseases, discontentment in society, civil wars. I'm trying to give as many examples as I can, because these are the results of, this is how you build on that, is building defense. This is the 9 of fire and the beaver. So, in any case, I need to go ahead and get ready for some stuff that's coming up, but that's the Clairsentience reading. I do think it's kind of difficult to test yourself for Clairsentience, in all honesty, but this is pretty promising. And given that this went from aggressive to building, I do believe that is what that's the mindset that is being developed. So this is at least a great start, or a good place to begin. And I'm gonna go ahead and bid you farewell for the time being.